Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me tonight. We are going to be painting some wildflowers tonight. In this video, I will be showing you how to create your very own artwork. I'll show you some different brush strokes, and you can create your own wildflower garden with acrylics. Got my husband Mark here with me.
Hey there, everybody.
We'll be doing this live, and let's get started. Okay, so here's my example that I painted this afternoon, and had a lot of fun with this. Of course, I love painting flowers anyway, so any excuse to paint flowers. And I couldn't really pick one, so I did a bunch of different ones, and you can use whichever ones you want, mix and match accordingly. So,
well, just do them all.
If you want all purple, do all purple.
That's right.
Want, it's up to you. I'm just going to show you some different ways of doing a few flowers and how I did the background to kind of create that soft kind of effect behind it, give it a little distance, and anyhow, so we'll get started here. Move this. I actually added a few bees too at the very end, so hopefully we'll have some time to do that at the end of the show. All right. I'm going to start out with a Filbert. This is a number 6 Filbert brush, and I'll go over my palette with you really quick. This is Quinacridone Magenta, Cadmium Red Medium, Pyrrole Orange, but you could use Cad Red Light or a Cadmium Orange instead of Pyrrole if you don't have it. Yellow Oxide, Cadmium Yellow Medium, Cadmium Yellow Light, Phthalo Green Yellow Shade, Phthalo Blue Green Shade, Ultramarine Blue, Light Ultramarine Blue, that's just ultramarine plus white, so it's an optional color. Dioxazine Purple and Burnt Sienna to create some brown shades and things. And then there's some white, so titanium white. Pretty basic palette. If you don't have any of these colors, just substitute what you have. You just want a cool red, a warm red, some orangey colors, some yellow, green, blues. So it can be adapted to other colors very easily. I'm going to start out here. Now I like to put my colors out on my palette kind of in the order of on the color wheel. Just kind of helps me keep them organized and know which one that this is my green closest to green blue, and then this blue is closer to purple on the color wheel. So I'm going to grab the Phthalo Blue here, and when I pick up my paint color, if you notice, I just barely pick up just a tiny little bit. The Phthalo Blue is very, very intense, so a little bit goes a long way. So I just picked up a tiny bit, and I don't go and dip in the middle of the puddle because I don't want to contaminate the whole thing when I'm pulling out a little bit of color. So just pull a little bit from the side, get into the habit of doing that, and your paints will go a little bit farther for you. And I'm just doing kind of a crosshatch motion here. I've got a 9 inch by 12 inch MDF board, Get Gesso boards, pre-gessoed, so I didn't do any prep to it. It was all ready to go. And it's fairly smooth, but if you're doing this on a canvas and you find that the paint is sticking to the canvas and not going on smoothly, you might spray it with a little bit of water. I keep a spray bottle handy like this, and I just spray my canvas once or twice. In fact, I'm going to spray my paints here to keep them moist while I'm working. Just kind of helps the paint go on a dry canvas a little bit smoother. But these boards do pretty well, so. And I've got links down in the description to the brushes and the paints and everything that I'll be using today, in case you want to see those. Okay, so grabbing some white now. I went all the way across. If you're doing this on a larger canvas, I might just do a section and then do the next section, not try to do all the way across, because probably this paint over here will be completely dry by the time you get the next layer on. And I want to get a few little cloud-ish type shapes up here in the sky, so I'm just going to kind of softly work in with the tip of my brush into this blue paint, sort of drag the white up into it. Keep it pretty random. And if you keep it kind of horizontal too, or maybe a little bit diagonal, it'll look like maybe wind-blown clouds. If you've got any streaks in there, you can make them look intentional. So I'm going to go in here and just dab in the little bit of bright white on the tip of my filbert here. Just dab in a few little cloud shapes, and then as the paint's gone off my brush, I'm just going to kind of pull the bottom of it out and spread it out a little bit. My paint underneath is getting a little thick, so it may not work very well. We'll have to let it dry a little bit. But you can kind of see how that works there. How are you doing, honey?
Doing great. There's people commenting in chat about how fast your hand is moving.
Yeah.
They can't get their hands to move that fast.
A little dabby. Yeah, you should see it sped up. It's even better. That was really funny when you watch the fast forward. It's like like ninja painting. It's hilarious. Okay, so I'm not going to do too much detail there. I don't want it to be like, super detailed in the background here, because we're kind of wanting it to look a little bit impressionist, or I don't know, just a little bit far away, distant. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of yellow oxide now and kind of work in some yellow oxide, and it's just above the halfway mark. So right about the third is where I'm going to end my blue and start with this sort of yellow green colors. And the yellow oxide will dull the blue. It's got it's kind of almost a brownish yellow. It's earthy. So it'll dull that blue, so it won't be as vibrant, because it's going to be real bright up here in the sky. But this distant flower fields or whatever, we want whatever this is, I don't know, the field, the flower, the leaves. There we go. Thank you. Sorry, the leaves to look.
Did you just say thank you to yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just want to be sure.
Thank you. I finally figured out what word I was trying to find. I'm getting into this painting. It happens. The longer I paint, the less I can use my words. Because I
mean, I can leave the 2 or 3 of you alone if you want me to.
That's okay.
Okay.
Oh, goodness. As I get down toward the bottom here, I'm going to go with brighter, deeper colors. So I guess I probably should just set that down, shouldn't I? Have I been holding it?
Yeah,
anyway?
I can't get good pictures when you're holding it in front of the camera like that.
All right, sorry.
No background, trying to sneak some pictures for Instagram and stuff.
I see what you're doing.
Got some really good pictures of a styrofoam plate. People are going to go crazy for that.
That's what they're watching for. They're like, when is the styrofoam plate coming out?
May have replaced stick band. I don't know.
Exactly. Oh, goodness. Okay, so I mixed a little bit of like a teal green color here with the Phthalo Blue and Phthalo Green. I'm going to use that down here. I'm not worried about this area here right now. I'm just going to kind of pull up to it, not over it. And we'll blend those two areas together here in a minute. I just want to get some dark color down on the bottom here, and I still had all those other colors on my brush, so they're all kind of blending together. They'll all kind of make a cohesive thing. You can add a little bit of water every now and then if your paint starts to get dried out, which it will after a while, especially if you're using it on a canvas or paper. It'll pull the moisture from your brush. I'm going to dip into the water every now and then. Okay, looks pretty good. And now with this grass, I'm kind of going vertical. With the clouds, I kind of went horizontal. With these grasses, I want the color streaks to go in the direction that they would grow as grass. So I'm going to grab some more of this yellow oxide here. Mix that. Grab a little bit of white. So I'm just mixing the two colors here that were this is our transition color to kind of work these two colors together. Now, don't freak out too much because it's going to look, acrylics always go through kind of an ugly stage. So anytime you're like laying down your first couple layers of paint, it's going to look really weird, and you're going to think maybe you're doing something wrong, but that's very normal. Just keep working through the process. I'll show you all the way through. So you can look at mine right now. It doesn't look like a whole lot. And you'll get to this stage, and a lot of times if you're the first or second time painting, you may get to the stage and kind of start panicking and think, uh-oh, that you're doing something wrong, and then try to fix it yourself without just waiting and going through the process. So don't try to fix it. Just do what I'm doing here, and I'll show you how to get to where we want to go. And I'm holding my brush kind of on its edge as I get up to this top part, so that if I have any little lines and things, they're kind of pulling like grass sort of shapes in there. And I'm going to go a little bit higher than this, but I'm going to clean my brush out. And that's not quite dry yet, so I'm going to let that dry a little bit longer.
Well, while we're waiting it to dry, we got a question.
Okay.
Somebody asked, do you prefer or do you recommend an acrylic paint that is pre-mixed in a bottle?
You don't have to. It just speeds up the process. So like this color here that's pre-mixed, the light ultramarine blue, if I was going to use a lot of that color, and I will in this painting, I would either have mixed up a little bit extra of it with the ultramarine blue and white together. But if I've got that color, I just put it out because it just saves time. So yeah, I mean, there's times that I do that, and I actually kind of prefer it. I have a lot of colors. I like to buy paint in every color they have. So yeah,
Yep.
I have trays and trays of paint. So, but I very seldom pull out my like more obscure paints for YouTube, because it kind of freaks people out because they feel like they have to, they don't have that paint color, and they, so I don't get to play with all my paint colors, but I end up mixing colors a lot more doing this. So yeah, when I'm doing just, working on the studio at home, I usually just kind of use whatever pre-mixed colors I have. Just saves time. Plus they're, especially if you're doing a whole background with something or something like that. Sorry, I'm just letting this dry for a minute while I talk. It will be easier to go back later and pick up the same exact color. If you've used a premixed color, it's going to be the same every time. So just makes it a little bit easier. All right, I'm going to pick up a little bit of white on my Filbert. I've cleaned it out. I'm just going to tap in just a little bit on these cloud shapes here. And at the bottom, I'm just going to kind of wipe it side to side when there's very little paint on my brush. Don't wipe it side to side when you got a bunch of paint on here, or you're going to get a big mess. So just kind of lay down all of the extra paint, and then once you've got it mostly gone, then come back. And don't do the whole canvas though and then expect to be able to come back and blend it out, because it will dry pretty quickly. So just do small sections of your clouds, blend those out. So use just a little tiny bit of paint. A little bit of paint, tapping it in. I'm kind of doing an irregular motion on these tops of the clouds so that they get kind of a fluffy look. You could also use a Deerfoot stippler if you've watched me. My Paris painting, there's been a couple of paintings where I've done these kind of clouds with my Deerfoot stippler. So that works pretty well too. All right. I'm going to grab that white and a little tiny bit of the yellow oxide. Mostly white though. And I'm just going to kind of lay in some random kind of flattened oval shapes back here to maybe look like flowers or something way far in the distance here. This will just kind of help with that effect of And I don't want to go too much in a straight line here, so I'm kind of getting a straight line there. I don't want that to happen. Kind of go up and down, and I'm bringing the sides up a little bit higher too to kind of create this little bowl effect, like more kind of like a fisheye lens sort of effect. So that's intentional too. I'm going to pull some of these down here. Just do a little, got very little paint on my brush and doing very kind of wispy. I'm not laying down real thick paint here. It's kind of watered down a little bit. Just make sure your background's dry or you'll lift off some of your green here. So just kind of about like that. So kind of that middle third of the canvas. I want a little bit of these sort of wispy white shapes. I think that's dry enough probably. I'm going to switch to a angle brush, and this will give me some finer lines. This is a 3/8 inch angle brush, and I like to use the angle or instead of a liner brush to do the grass blades, because they it holds more paint, so I can do more than if I was to use like a round brush. I could do it, but I would have to reload every brush stroke. And with a brush like this, I don't have to do that. I've mixed a little bit of purple with the Phthalo Green. It's made this kind of deep, dark green. I'm going to grab a little tiny bit of white, but I want it fairly dark. Probably even too much white there. Let me mix some more over here that doesn't have any white in it. There we go. Okay. And then we'll pick up a little bit of the white. And this is going to seem like a weird color, but this is going to be our shadow color in our grass. So just trust me. It'll all work out.
Well, I'm trusting you.
Trust you. Yeah, trust. I know you're worried. You're like, what,
what
is she doing?
Sometimes I need to be talked down off the edge.
And I'm not doing whole brush strokes all the way from the bottom here, because some of these are going to be sort of in between. I want them to look like they're sort of stacked up in between other blades of grass. So we're not going to see the whole thing from the bottom to the top all the way through. So that'll be pretty good. We just need a little bit of darkness for the light colors to work against. We need the values, the light and dark values.
So I'd just like to say thanks to everybody who's watching us live tonight. There's a couple hundred people right now watching.
Nice.
And thanks for joining us on this Tuesday evening or Wednesday morning, depending on where you are. I guess Tuesday afternoon if you're in Hawaii. Wherever you are, thanks for joining us. If you haven't already, you can hit subscribe to Angela's channel if you're new to us and click the like button. It helps her out. You can join us in chat, ask questions, and if the bots can't answer them, I'll try to get them on air so Angela can answer them. And we got people from all over the world watching us tonight.
That's great.
Yeah, we have UK
exciting.
Canada, all across the U.S.
That's one of my favorite things about YouTube is getting to meet people from all over the world like this and sharing a love of painting. We all have that in common, no matter where we live or, what our philosophies are. We can all agree on painting is awesome. We don't agree on anything else. That is...
Well, a lot of people in here, have commented that they really like your flowers, that you do awesome flowers.
Oh,
so
thank you.
They're really excited about this painting.
I do. It's been too long. I kind of go through withdrawals when I've been too long with that.
I do remember saying that you were going to do a tanks or something like that. Yeah, no?
Not right now. Not this time.
Not this.
Not this
It
time.
would look good in the background.
We could just put the barrel of a tank kind of coming through. Like dun dun dun. Okay, I mixed up some green here, Phthalo Green, or actually Phthalo Blue and Cad Yellow light, and it's sort of mixed it with a little bit of that phthalo green and a little bit of whatever white and yellow was down here, so it's not like a pure color. And I'm just going to pull in some long blades of grass. If you press my brush flat on my palette so I get a good flat edge, then I can kind of do these flicking leaf strokes. Don't try to carefully draw them because they'll get shaky. Just sort of set your brush down and flick it upward. If you've got enough paint on your brush, it will do the work for you. Some of them will be thicker than others, and that's fine. We just want some of them to go in different directions. Right up into the sky. I'm going to do different layers too, so some of them will start off the canvas and come up. But I save those for last. I do these ones up at the top first because those will be farther away, and then these ones in the foreground will be covering up some of these ones farther back, so we can leave those to do later. These ones in the foreground we'll probably do a little bit lighter because we want them to be showing up against these darker colors. Here. Okay, don't skimp on the grass. It's really important to fill up this whole area, otherwise your flowers are going to look like they're kind of floating out in space. So make sure that you get these blades of grass really close together and really packed tightly. Let's do some other colors here. Let's grab some ultramarine blue and do some ultramarine blue mixed with this kind of a bluegrass mixed with this color. This would be a good one for kind of farther away. All right, looks pretty good. Use some yellow. Grab the Cad Yellow Medium here. Now mixed with the ultramarine blue, it's going to make kind of an olive green. So I'm going to grab some of that brighter phthalo green. There we go. And then I'm going to grab some white and just make kind of a lighter version over here. This will be kind of our green grass base color for these kind of foreground ones. They'll be a little bit brighter, a little bit more yellow tones. These ones in the background were a little bit more of the blue tones. Every now and then grabbing a little bit of that darker color too to add in. This color I'm going to go a little bit more sparingly. I don't want to cover up all in the dark area here in the foreground, so I'm just going to kind of, a few of them keep kind of low, short, and I want to leave a little bit of these darker areas showing. I still want them pretty crowded though, so you can't really tell where one blade starts and another blade stops. That's kind of how it is with these. If you look at pictures of, you know, fields of flowers, they've got all this kind of crowded stuff going on, and you're seeing through other layers behind, and so nothing really stands out unless it's right in front. Like just the ones in front are gonna be more prominent, but all this stuff back here is gonna, that looks really pretty good, I think. I'm liking it. Are you liking it, hon?
It is beautiful. Or, sorry, cute. It's better. Sorry.
Cute.
Getting the lingo right here.
Yeah.
So, I think you got the art community all turned upside down.
Oh, really?
Because you paint on a table.
I know. Yeah. You're really not supposed to. And it's hard to tell, actually, laying it flat like this. Generally, when I paint, I hold it in my hand like this so that I'm looking at it flat towards me. But because of the camera, I have to lay it flat towards you. So, and sometimes I use a tabletop easel. But these smaller canvases, I just find that they're easier to hold and paint at a table. But anything over like a 12 by 16 inch canvas, you really need an easel because they get kind of unwieldy on a table. Unwieldy. Word of the day. Big word of the day. Can you define unwieldy, honey?
No, don't ask me those hard questions again like you did the other night.
What word was it? It was something I was reading, and what was the word? Upshot.
Yeah.
The upshot.
And you were like, well, what do you think of when you think of upshot? And I'm like, I'm an engineer. I've never thought of that. So I go to Google it. She goes, oh, no, I know what it means. I just didn't know it in that context. I go, oh, why are you asking me?
I was like, I just need to call up one of my book club buddies. They'll understand. It always confuses me. It always astounds me when I come across a word that I thought I knew the definition of, the definition is different than what I thought it was. So I was having a mind blown moment, but Mark didn't appreciate it. He's like, I never heard of upshot. Okay, I got a little bit of white and I've mixed it with my red here. And I'm going to wipe most of it off. I've switched to a number 2 round. And I'm going to put in some of this, kind of like we did the white. And I probably could have done this with the white instead of doing it now, but I think it'll be fine. We'll just tuck it in, kind of in between some of these grass blades. Put some of this sort of soft color. And a few. Okay, don't get too much of this. You just want a little blush of other colors going on back here too. It'll kind of help the overall effect of distance and having some faded flowers in the background. Faded and looking through here, that there's other colors peeking through. All right, let's do our tall blue flowers. Those are kind of I looked it up, they're called chicory. So, I know you were wondering about that, honey.
I've heard of that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're these kind of cornflower, the blue, not cornflowers though. Cornflowers apparently are bachelor buttons, the same thing as bachelor buttons, which we have grown in our yard, which are the same colors, similar colors, but these grow on a stalk, kind of multiple flowers along a long stem. So I'm going to make a green here, which is phthalo green and white this time. And I want it fairly light, so I'm going to make sure, yeah, there we go. And I'm just going to kind of create this sort of long stem thing. And I'm just going to tuck it in. Here I'm going to stop before I need to. So I'm not going to bring it all the way down to the bottom, and I'm just going to kind of lay in a light middle stem on it. And do one over here. I'm going to do them different heights, so this one's kind of high. I'm going to even bring it up a little bit higher even. And I'm just doing kind of a long stem and then setting down my brush with the angle out and just tapping it down to create this little leaf shapes, just pulling them slightly towards the center stem.
Somebody in chat helped me out where I had heard chicory before.
What is it?
It's used in some coffees.
Oh, there you
Something
go.
I can relate to.
Yeah, I have heard that. So just creating some little leaves coming down and just sort of tucking the ends down sort of behind where another blade of grass starts, so I don't have to end it any particular place. If that makes sense.
My fans are asking for a zoom in, so
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
here we go. I'll zoom in and I'll cut the picture
take
off.
the picture out.
One thing at a time, please. Hold on. Okay.
There we go. Okay, so we'll move over here. And there's a few little blue ones over here. See how I kind of just tuck that in behind that blade of grass there, so don't have to show where, so it's not stopping at some, random spot. And if you got a spot like this where it looks kind of weird, just kind of throw in a couple of these colored. In fact, I think I'm going to add a few of these colored, this lighter colored in here, just to kind of disguise some of these other ones. All right, looks pretty good. All right, now we get to start adding flowers. That was the tedious part. The rest of it's kind of just up to your own imagination what you want to add. So I'm going to switch to the round brush and make it easier to create some of these little flower shapes. We'll start with the corn flowers, since those are the first ones we put down here. So I'm going to grab the light ultramarine blue and just a little bit of the darker ultramarine blue. So I have both of them on my brush at the same time. So just kind of pull through a little bit of the darker with that lighter color. I'll start right up here at the top. I'm just going to put in a few little dabs along the stem. Just a couple brush strokes. Just pull and lift. Set it down and lift. And let's do a flower. So I'm going to set it down and pull across and do kind of a star shape like that. These are a little bit darker than they're going to end up, but we kind of need to have a little bit dark for them to show up. And then we'll add some of the lighter color on top. And now I can also go back through if I want the ends to be a little bit more rounded and pull from the inside to a center point. Okay. Do some more down here. Pop it up. Right down close to the bottom. If you can't see it, if it's not showing up, just grab a darker color or a lighter color. So just kind of depending on what is behind. In this case, it just needed a little bit darker color to show up. I need to leave room here for my pink flowers to go, so I'm going to just do a couple more random ones here. There's some other flowers here, so I don't want to fill up too much. Of course, we can cover up other stuff, so we don't have to. These will be our background flowers, so some of these might get covered by other flowers, is what I'm saying. But I want to make sure that the ones that I want to be visible, like these, the bigger ones, are in a place where I know they're not going to get covered. Okay. No, I just find painting flowers very relaxing. It's very kind of, especially these kind of ones where we're sort of making it up as we go. So we can kind of be, you know, I don't know, be creative with it. We can kind of explore and play with it. Play, that's the word I'm looking for. We can play a little bit with it. It's a little bit more freedom to just kind of do our own thing, create some interesting flowers. Put some down here.
I'm glad you've been paying attention to make sure you stay in camera, because I haven't been.
I know. It's okay. I'm trying.
You're doing a good job.
Thanks. You're just chatting with everybody over there.
Just trying to keep up. Chat's moving quite quickly.
Good.
So, not necessarily art or painting, but
well, it never
it's
is.
chat.
It's normal. Fun thing about chat to talk about painting.
It's a social gathering.
Yep.
You know, friends. You know, made friends from all over the world too in the chat. It was a great connection.
Mm-hmm. One of these days, if we ever travel, we can. That would be awesome. Set up some meetings with some folks. Somebody from Tuscany said that we could use their villa, so I was like, yes, heck yes.
We just got to get there, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
See, there's always a catch.
I know. I just have to have a passport for that, I guess. That would help too, huh?
That's true. They expired like 3-4 years ago, didn't they?
It's been too long.
Okay, I just need to ask everybody in chat, please stop talking about food.
Well, you get hungry. Hashtag feed Mark.
Yeah, just...
Go make yourself a sandwich.
I was thinking maybe nachos.
Oh, do it.
But no.
Well, then I couldn't eat them, though, because then you'd hear me crunching on them.
Exactly.
It'd be
It wouldn't be
distracting,
fair.
too. You have no excuse because you played hooky today, so you already didn't play hooky, but
I didn't play hooky.
I
had to use personal time.
Dentist appointment.
Right, not a hair appointment.
Hair. That would be me. No, I didn't. No. Whoops. Oh, you didn't.
I swear, I was watching you, and you were on, and then I looked away. All right.
Okay. It's okay.
We'll zoom out just a little bit. There we go.
Okay, so there's our little blue flowers. And let's throw in a few random with the lighter color here. Maybe add a little bit of white to it. Kind of like what we did with the red here. Take most of it off. I'm just going to put in a few little random ones tucked in around the grasses and above it. These look like they're kind of far away, maybe. Okay. Clean that out really well.
So at the end, you'll have to go through and name all the flowers that you're painting
Okay.
in there.
Ultramarine blue and a little bit of phthalo blue here. Okay, I will. I'm going to dab in the centers of these real dark. This one's chicory. I don't know that I have all the rest of the names. Well, I kind of do, I think. I do. No, actually.
I'll help you make
Most
some
of
up.
them. Okay. Make up some names.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Thanks, honey.
That's the blue dot flower.
Very rare.
Very rare. Grows in the wildlands. Free range.
Organic? Is it
Or
organic?
it's
That's
organic.
important.
It's organic, free range.
Okay. Organic free range flowers. I like it. I like it. We only paint organic free range flowers here.
I zoomed in on you, so you.
Thank you. Don't make me laugh.
All natural.
All natural. Yep.
No hormones added.
No. Okay, I'm trying to remember which ones I did next. I think I did these ones. I only painted this afternoon. I'm still having to remember how I did it. That's why I do it the day of. If you ever wonder why I wait, it's because if I didn't, I would have to write everything down because I would forget. Okay, so I'm going to do a light yellow with cad yellow, medium, and white. Adding the white will help make the cadmium yellow medium a little bit more opaque on the canvas. And we'll put in some of our... Okay.
People want to see you do the flowers.
Okay. All right, so we'll do...
Your eye there.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do them tucked in here. So I'll do one here, and one here, I think. So I'm going to put in my star shapes kind of just to kind of lay out where I want to put them. And then we'll pull petals in from these. These are, I think they're called basket flowers. That's what I could find. That's probably not a technical term, but it's probably a common name for them. Some of them I think I want to do sort of sideways. I didn't do this with the original one. They're all kind of straight facing on, and I didn't like the look. I wanted a little bit more dynamic, like they're kind of bent away from us a little bit. So this one I'm going to kind of do more of an oval shape with the petals. If it's not covering your background, just grab a little bit of white and use your white in there. And we'll go over this again with another layer of paint, so it'll cover. These petals have kind of like 3 little ridges, and then they're all kind of stuck together. Okay. So let's do a couple down here. I'll do the cross pieces so we know where to put them. Like that. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. Let the brush do the work. So if you've got a good round brush, you kind of pull it to somewhat to a point, but I've got it loaded really thick with paint, pretty thick. So all you have to do is kind of set it down and pull toward the center and lift. So set it down and lift, set it down, lift, set it down, lift. Pause just a second for the bristles to kind of flare out a little bit, and you'll get a thicker end on your flower. If you want to keep it thin, you just kind of drag it like that. But if you want these kind of rounded ends, you kind of have to set it down and pause for a second just to kind of let those bristles spread slightly on the canvas before you pull it towards the center. Okay. Cute. First cute. Check.
Well, from you.
From me. That's true.
I had the first cute.
You did. You did. Good job, honey. Let's wipe this off. And we'll use some of this dry to kind of do some yellow in the background. Try not to go over your grasses too much. Try to tuck them in between the grasses if you can. Don't want it to look like... It'll look weird if you set one right on top of the grass right here. So these little ones that are supposed to be sort of in the background, just try to tuck them in between the blades of grass. Okay. Let's do these yellow daisies over here. We'll get the same color here. I'm going to have to spray my palette. Grab a little bit of extra water. So these daisies are going to be a similar petal. They'll just be a little bit longer brush stroke. So similar to what we were doing here, but we're going to separate them out a little bit more. And I'm adding a little bit extra water to my brush just so that it'll flow a little bit easier.
Zoom in when you do your first ones.
Okay.
Where are you going to be?
Right here.
Okay.
So I'm going to pick one of these blades of grass that looks like it could be the end of kind of one of the thinner ones maybe, and set my brush down and pull up. This will be the center of my flower right here. So I'm going to pull all my brush strokes, all my petals to that point. Set it down, let it flare out a little bit, and lift. And this time I'm going to curve it a little bit for these ones on the outside. Set it down, curve it in. Probably need a couple coats on here because this paint is kind of thick, or is kind of see-through-ish. So I'm going to actually add just a teeny tiny bit of orange to that color. It'll warm up that gold yellow. Add a little bit of that. There we go. Grab some white. Okay, this one I'm going to do kind of a full. These ones on the side are going to come straight out in. They're going to curve down here, kind of go straight here and here, curve down. And then these ones up top are going to be a little bit shorter because you're not going to, they're just the back side of them visible. Sorry, lose my voice here.
That's okay. We'll give a shout out to Jo in Wales. She's on her break in England.
Jo?
Catching you live.
Nice.
All excited.
It's great.
And great to have you with us.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by on your break. It's awesome. Okay, let's do one more right here. I would practice these. I've got a brushstroke video that I did last year, or maybe the year before. I don't know. It's been a while. Where I show how to do comma strokes. These are kind of comma strokes here, sort of. But I show how to kind of hold the brush. You notice I'm kind of holding it right like I would a pencil if I was to write with it. And I'm keeping my brush really perpendicular to the canvas. It's really important because you can't get these effects if you're pulling it at a lazy angle like this. You're not going to be able to get this fine point on the end. And if you're using a brush that doesn't want to come to a point for you, see how this one's, at rest is at a point. This is how thick the end of your line's going to be. So if you've got a brush that is split and it has a really fat end on it, before you even go to the canvas, you're not going to get a very fine line on it, no matter what you do. So just, try to use a brush that is in good condition that'll give you a good point. All right, those are pretty good, I think. I actually think, no, that'll be fine. I'm just going to go with what I did before. I don't want to get fancy on it, so I've done that before. Oh, is it? Sorry, I do. So I'm like, I'm going to change that, and then,
Stick to the script.
Stick to the script, exactly. Yep. Oh, we've been married too long. We just said exactly at the same exact time.
It's funny you say that because somebody in chat asked how long we've been married, and we're going through everybody's anniversaries now.
Oh, nice.
It's awesome.
Yep, 29 years. Well, we've been together 30, how long?
Well, we'll be
Almost
coming up on
3
32 years.
Yeah, 32.
In the fall, in August.
Yeah, he invited me to his senior corn roast.
How romantic.
It was corn and hot dogs. That was our first date. It was very romantic at high school. Yep.
What brand brush are you using to do this?
This is the Princeton Summit 6100 series.
Okay.
They're the ones that are on my brush guys list. I just added a bunch of water to my white here just to kind of soften it up a little bit. So it's more of a soft buddy paint at this point, closer to a craft acrylic texture. Just make it a little bit easier for these smaller daisies here. Can you get me fresh water, honey? Because this is all green. I'm sorry. It'll make prettier flowers, so you'll be supporting the cause. Thank you.
So the painting will be perfect because of me, right?
Right.
Okay.
Because you got me fresh.
I guess I'll sign the painting then today.
Okay. Okay. I'll let you. All right. I think I'm just going to put in a few little brush strokes up here. I kind of ran out of room right here. I guess I need to leave room right here for I'm going to draw out my echinacea, or the coneflower, so that I don't cover anything. So that's going to go there. I'm going to have a big one right here, another one right here, another one right here, and another one down right here. Okay, so my daisies are going to get it tucked in around these. So this time we're going to do big petals all the way across the back. These are a little bit smaller than the the black-eyed Susans. These are just little Shasta daisies, I think. So they're a little bit smaller petaled. Okay, so there's a coneflower there, so we'll do a little daisy right in here. Thank you, honey. So this will be good practice if you've wanted to kind of get more adept with your brush strokes. This is a great one to do because this will give you lots of good practice with doing these special brush strokes. And I know you were worried about that, hon. You're just talking about how you were worried about your special brush strokes. So
yeah, but I deal with it.
what you deal with it. Okay. All right, let's do a little bit bigger one right here. As I go around the sides, I'm going to kind of tuck him in sideways. And then these ones, this one, I'm going to kind of do like it's front facing us almost. So I'm going to do more open. And I like to let my brush strokes be uneven. I think it gives it a little bit more natural look, but if you want to, you know, make it a little bit more careful and perfectly round, you can do that too. Up to you. It's your flowers. Your painting. Your choice. You don't even have to do these ones. I think it'd be pretty with all just the blue flowers. Okay, let's see. Okay, so that's our big one right there. Let's do one right here. We already at an hour, aren't we? I kind of didn't think this was an hour one. I couldn't remember how long it took me, but
57 minutes and counting.
okay. I'll try to hurry it along here for you.
No, don't hurry it along. Do it.
Okay.
People are trying to learn how to do this.
All right.
They really don't care if I pass out from hunger.
It's true.
They're selfish that way.
Okay. Let's tuck another one up here. All right, I'm going to leave that. I think that looks pretty good. Let's do one up here. Okay, I think that's good. I think I was zoomed in and did one up high that I didn't. Was off camera there. Okay, let's put in the centers of these ones. So we'll grab some of this Pyrrole orange. I'm going to drag it from the outside or inside out. Go almost to the tip, but not quite over the tips of those yellow petals. If you don't have the Pyrrole orange, just use it like a cadmium orange, or you could use cadmium red light and add a little bit of yellow to it. You just want it to be. Oops, I got a little red there. We'll do red, but not quite yet. Okay. This is where I can go back in with my Cadmium Yellow Medium. It's full strength with no white in it this time. I'm going to press my brush flat a little bit. And I'm just going to pull in, brighten up those tips, and go over that orange a little bit. It'll soften up that orange layer. Don't, I've kind of watered it down just slightly, so it's kind of almost a wash color. And if I put my first layer on with enough white, it'll be bright enough. If it's not covering, then just add a little bit of white to this. Okay. There we go. Now that center's pretty dry. I'm going to go ahead and clean my brush out. Grab some cadmium or Quinacridone Magenta. I'm going to pull from the outside or in towards the orange with this color. If it starts to lift, just let this dry and come back to it. It should be dry enough, but if it's not, we can wait and do this later. Oops, I was completely off for that one.
Thanks for letting me know. Well, I'm trying to stay zoomed in so everybody can see
I know.
the things there.
I can't
I'm sorry.
follow and paint.
All right.
Alrighty. Put in our purple cone flowers here. I'm going to start out with some purple and white. And they'll actually be kind of more of a pink, but I'm going to put this color down as our base, a little bit darker color, and then we'll work the lighter color on top for some highlight. So these will be put on just like we did the other daisies. So a little bit shorter at the top. This is going to be the center right here. If it helps, you can chalk out your center so you know kind of where to point your petals. Some of them I'm going to press down a little harder and get thicker petals. Some of them I'll keep a little bit thinner, but they kind of droop right here quite heavily. Okay. I press down a little bit thicker. I want these petals to be a little bit fatter. There we go. This one I'm gonna just do the bottom petals, not the top ones. So we're only seeing the bottom half of it. Ooh, that's bright. That's okay. Or dark, I should say. That's all right. Let's do another one here like the same way. One down real low right here. This one I'll show a little bit of the backside petals, so we're going to do little baby petals there. I'm going to go ahead and just fill in the centers of his. I filled in the centers of that. Okay, good, I think. Might point this one. Yeah, I think that's good. Let's use a little bit of this purple. Soften it up. Even our background area like we did the other colors.
We have a question here.
Okay.
Someone wants to know, how do they get the flowers to look like they're looking in different directions?
It depends on the tilt of the petals. So the ones in the middle I do straight down, and then wherever I want to point them, I'll make sure that I know where the center point is. Let me put in my center of my flowers here. You can kind of see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to grab some burnt sienna and some purple. So this center is going to be pointed in this direction, in line with this. And I'm going to go right underneath so that it's below these petals that are on the sides here. And then this one I'm going to kind of point this way a little bit. So kind of go along with that one. This one, the center's a little bit high. And it's going to go up like this. Be sure you're setting this part down well below these side petals. That way it'll look like it's set down in correctly. Let's do this one. You're going to see just the top of it peeking through right here. But the side petals are kind of what directs the tilt of the flower. So this one's, the side petals were kind of pointing this direction, flat. This flat part is pointing this direction. So we're going to put our center here, pointing this direction.
Somebody asked,
I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah. Somebody asked, are you making a conscious effort to have odd number flowers?
Yes, that is something that I did when I designed it. I did odd number flowers just because that's kind of more visually the norm, or in art, you know.
And that is odd for sure.
Odd.
And why is that?
It's just kind of a known decorating trick that odd numbers are more visually pleasing. So you see 1s, 3s, 5s, 7s, you know, in a lot of decorating. So anytime you're putting knickknacks together, you never want to put, you know, just 2 of them together. You usually see 3 things clustered together. You use this color in the center of these flowers too. So I'm going to leave the center open.
So that's why you have an odd number of husbands?
That's just 1.
More visually pleasing?
Mm-hmm. More visually pleasing, exactly. Yep. Okay. Just if you need to switch to a smaller brush to get, you know, finer tips on there, that's fine too. You can do that. I won't judge you. Alright, let me grab some cadmium yellow light. A little bit of white. I'm going to do another layer on these daisies here. This will just brighten them up a little bit. If you liked your first layer and you don't want to do this, don't worry about it. You can just leave them. I just feel like they're a little bit, that little bit too much of that blue sky was showing through on these, so I'm going to brighten them up a little bit. Okay.
So what color yellow? You're just mixing it with a little bit more white, or?
Cad yellow light and white.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, I'm going to use yellow oxide here and tap in a little bit of highlight on one side. Whoop, don't want. Tap in a little bit of highlight on one side of these centers, kind of toward the top. Middle, this one actually, the sun's coming this way, it's going to be kind of more in the middle, both sides. Get a little bit more solid color here. There we go. Put a little bit of cad yellow light in the centers of these. Just tapping little dots. You can zoom in if you want on this part. Good to see. And there's actually some little bits that kind of go over the top of the brownish or purplish circle there too. So I'll just do a few that are kind of random over the top, like that. A little bit of white for the centers of these. There's also little dots. Okay. I'm going to wipe off my chalk marks here. Let's do my little bitty pink flowers. I'm going to grab a little bit smaller brush here. This is the number 1. I'm going to use Quinacridone Magenta and white. Create a light pink. And I'm just going to tuck these in between these other flowers. So just kind of wherever it seems good to have some little bit of pink. Doing them just like I did the blue flowers. I'm kind of doing sort of a X and then filling in between, and then in between that again. Some of them are gonna not be a full flower, so I'll probably make some of them that kind of just point out, kind of like we did the daisies. Oh, way out, sorry.
That was really whispery, but I still caught you.
Okay. All right, let's do some of this red clover. So grab some of the red, mix a little bit, a tiny bit of white with it. And actually I'm going to make a little bit of the Quinacridone Magenta with it too, just to make it a little bit brighter. And we'll do a few little red clovers. Those are just kind of stacked up, little small brush strokes, all kind of in a row. Alright, so let's put in there, go up here. I'm going to tuck one behind that grass there. These filler flowers, I'm not worried too much about the number, you know, the odd, even thing, because these are kind of our, they're not the focal point flowers, so we're not gonna, it's not gonna matter if we have them a little bit odd number, or even number, I should say, in this case. Grab some white here, and I'm going to go over the top of this with white. Highlight those. if this is getting too busy for you, you can stop at any point. So, you know, if you feel like you want to leave some more of the grasses showing, just, you know, you don't have to fill in with all these other filler flowers. You can stop and call it good. Do my highlights on my flowers here, and I think we're about done. So 30-minute warning? No.
30 minutes.
I'm going to grab that ultramarine blue, light ultramarine blue, and I'm going to add a little bit of white to it. And we're going to go over these petals. Add a little bit of the highlight color to a few of them. From the outside in here so that the centers stay a little bit dark. I'm doing these kind of fast so you can kind of do them a little bit more carefully if you want them to look a little bit cleaner. Grab the cad yellow light. And go back into these pink flowers and add a little bit of pink dot to the centers of these. I'll put one in here. Come on. Okay, put a little bit of highlight on our cone flowers. So I'm going to use a little bit of burnt sienna and orange. A tiny bit of white. And we're going to kind of do these little spiky highlights in the centers. Leave the area around the bottom of the flower dark, so only this top area is gonna have the highlight. do some burnt sienna first. And grab some yellow oxide. And do a little bit of the yellow oxide too. Right. A little bit more of the Pyrrole orange. Go straight in with just Pyrrole orange.
Now I want pie.
Huh?
Now I want pie. Keep saying Pyrrole.
Pyrrole. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to use my flat number 2 and some white and some of the pink and a teeny tiny bit of purple. Make kind of a violet color. I want it nice and bright though, so I want a lot of white in there. I may have to put out some fresh white here. Okay. I'm going to set my brush down. Actually, I think I'm going to use my round brush.
Man, that brush just got sent back to the bench. Just thrown in the water.
Dumped.
Aggressively.
Okay, I'm going to press that brush flat. This is the round brush that we used on the petals earlier. I'm going to... Now, if I get too much paint on it, it won't do the kind of dry brush thing that I want it to do. There we go. So, I can always go back and add more paint, but I don't want to have too much paint on here for this. We're just highlighting these petals. That purple underneath will help. Give it some contrast.
Now there's a pro tip for you right there.
What?
Rotate the canvas
Yes,
so you can get a good angle.
that's true. Yeah, so when I'm pulling in, it's almost impossible to do it without rotating the canvas to get that right wrist action there on it.
Yeah, you do those things just naturally without even thinking about it.
Yeah. Grab a little bit more of that purple. This one I feel like it a little bit. There we go, that's the color I want right there. And go back in from the middle out with a little bit of this violet color. White. Set it down, lift. Almost immediately as I flick it toward the center. So if you get it over the middle, just wipe it off or tap back in a little bit of that middle color. And then I can grab a little bit of the darker violet and pull some color in from the center too, over the top, to sort of help that transition area between the dark purple and this color. Okay, good. All right, almost done. We got to get the centers of the daisies. So I'm going to grab the cadmium yellow medium, some white, mix that together, and then on one edge I'm going to drag it through the orange and just tap it out on my canvas a little bit, or my palette there. Sorry, I say that all the time. Okay. I'm setting down the orange side down. These ones don't have any of the center showing, so we're just going to do the ones that we can see the middle, the whole flower. Okay. Well,
Just that one.
Okay. Let's get the smaller brush out. I'm going to make some light green. Use the Cadula light and some little bit of Phthalo Green and some white. It's going to have all these other colors in it, so that's fine. Mix up some light green here. A little bit brighter than what we had, a little bit more apple green. Add some water to it. And so let's find these daisies here, and we'll put the back ends of these daisies in. Dab in a little dot on the back end of these ones that are sticking out here. Kind of a diamond shape almost. Or a, no. And then we'll pull in some stems for them. Do some stems on our daisies. Maybe a few stems on the echinacea if we need to. And then I'm going to do some little leaves here. Just kind of do a center stem and just some little leaves off of it on a few of these. Just add a few little added details. A little bit more of the orange. Tap a little bit more of that orange in there. Now that this is dried, it'll accept it a little bit better than it did before. There we go. Brighten that up. get some white with my yellow oxide. Tap in some white, brighter highlights on these daisies centers. Maybe use a tiny bit of this color in this coneflowers too, just a little bit, just to really brighten that up. These are our focal point flowers, so we want to take a little bit extra time with them. All right. And grab some more Quinacridone Magenta, a little bit of white. Keep it a little bit darker than I did before, and we're going to go over these little flowers with a little bit more of the dark purple pink. We can give them a little bit extra detail. I have no idea what kind these are, if they even have a name. So these are the no name.
I'll zoom in on them so we can get a good picture of the made-up flowers.
The no name flowers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. Oops, this one needs a center.
Okay, since I can make up the name of colors, we can make up a name of a flower here.
Do it.
I'm thinking it's quite hard and hurting myself over here.
Hurting yourself having to think. Well, if they were white, they'd look like chamomile. Because chamomile look like these little... But I don't think they come in pink. I could be wrong though. No, these ones are red or crimson clover. These are the purple coneflower, echinacea, lazy-eyed Susan, black-eyed Susan, and Shasta daisies, I think. And then these are the chicory. This one needs a center. Okay, I think it looks pretty good. Let's put a couple of these in and we'll call it good. I think I want to splatter it really quick. You know how I like to splatter. I didn't do that on my original one, but I always really like to do it with kind of landscape. It just...
and how do you splatter?
With a fan brush here. Grab a fan brush, a little bit of white, and a little bit of the green. Now this is optional.
And
totally
a lot of
optional.
water, right?
A little bit, yeah, and a lot of water. Yeah. Thank you, hon. Tap it off on my paper towel so I don't have too much on at once, and just kind of tap a few little splatters in there. Just kind of fills in the gaps, make it, I don't know, maybe gnats flying around. You know how like a summery photograph will have kind of hazy stuff in the atmosphere. I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
This kind of reminds me of the flowers that we took our selfie in front of a couple years ago by the Crystal Bridges Museum.
Yeah, they are. Well, the ones that we did in with the goldfinch were the cosmos. Those were the same flower.
I'm just saying this whole look here looks like that whole bunch of flowers. That would be
and that's how I did the background part, because I couldn't find a photograph that had that kind of look. But so I, kind of used that photo that we had taken before as a kind of reference for doing this sort of hazy stuff in the background there. Okay, so let's do our bee here. He's going to have purple and burnt umber for his body color. You can add a little bit of ultramarine blue too if you want. Make it a little bit darker.
I want to give a shout out to Michelle real quick for a super chat donation. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle. So sweet. Okay. I'm going to push my brush to a flat point there, and we'll put a bee up, kind of going up on this guy here. So I'm going to do kind of a curved for his backside. Yeah, go ahead and zoom right in. Zoom in tight. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Good. That's good. Okay, so kind of a curved. And then another little dot right here for his body. And then his head is going to be up here, a little bit smaller. Okay. So let's do another one over here. And really, I probably need 3 bees, but all right, so let's do one right here. Just kind of flying. Oops, sorry, thank you. Glad somebody's paying attention.
Oh, I got in trouble earlier.
You were in trouble.
Yeah, the
You're
boss
in big trouble.
got all on me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't slip up. Get another demerit.
Exactly. All right, let's do one more way up high here, I guess. Or, no, I don't know. Maybe down here.
The moral of the story is you can put the bees wherever you want them to be.
Exactly.
Get that where you want them to be. You're welcome.
You know how I feel about puns, honey.
You love them.
Not.
So just flood
Not.
Facebook with nice, high-quality puns.
No.
No.
Really, this one could have been face on. I don't know why I put him sideways too, but oh well, he's done. So he is what he is. Grabbing a little bit of yellow oxide and the Cad Yellow light, or Cad Yellow medium. So I've got kind of both sort of in my brush, and I'm just going to tap in my little stripes on my bees. It might mix with the... Mm-hmm. The middle part of his body is just sort of fuzzy. And he's got these 3 little stripes in the back. Right, and there's a little bit of this color on the underside of his face, so I'm just going to tap in just a little bit of this. And then the top part of him is going to be fuzzy. So just do little dots like you did the centers of the flowers. And then for his little stripes, do the same thing. Just little, because it's all fuzzy. He's not like a yellow jacket where they're smooth. They've got all these kind of little hairs. So there's going to be...
Yeah, Tricia says this is beautiful.
Beautiful. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to get just a teeny tiny bit of the body color and mix that with white. So it's that purpley color. I'm going to do the little wings, and the wings are going to come off of the head there, so, but they're real transparent, so I'm just going to do tiny and then pull it out. So little, smush it down and then lift it and let it pull to a point. They kind of have this triangular shape. And really they're a little bit more transparent than that, but we're doing the best we can on a short time schedule here. I added a little bit of blue to this one, just so that it would show up against this flower. We'll see if it helps. Or we can actually, let's add that purple color from the body. I kind of want to do him kind of facing this way. just do and outline the wings a little bit with it. Very, very lightly. I don't want it to be obvious. Tap in a little bit more yellow in the middle there.
We posted that picture on Instagram a week or two ago. That bee on the flower just covered in pollen.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was happy. I'm gonna get burnt Sienna here.
Rolling in it.
Yeah, he was. He was so cute. He was just.
And then you noticed that there was a little spider at the base of the flower. We didn't even see that when we took the picture.
I wonder if the spider eats the bees, you know, or if he's looking for easier prey. Okay, I'm going to use little tiny brush strokes to do the little antenna. 2 little antenna. And then I think I was off camera there again.
I was trying to zoom out quickly, but you were too fast.
Okay. And then little legs. These ones kind of curve. I think they all come from this part of the body, but they kind of curve back and forward, and then these ones curve forward. So yeah, zoom in for this one. Okay. So back and forward. Well, they really kind of angle straight. Now he looks like he's got shoes on. That one's not as great. It's all right. They should be a little more pointy at the ends there, but that's okay. It's good. They might. Do they have 4 legs or like the picture that I found had? It didn't look like. I don't know. I didn't see any other legs, so we're gonna call that good. And I think I'm gonna use a little bit of the color with a little bit of water added, and just lightly outline those wings just to give them a little shape. Against that blue sky, it's hard to see them. All right, I think we're good. Oh, he needs a highlight in his eye. Don't forget.
Okay, don't forget the highlight.
It's really important.
Zoom in for that one too?
Sure.
Well, you'll be off camera if I zoom, so.
Here, I'll move it. Little tiny bit of white on the tip of my brush here. And I'm going to do a little horizontal dash for the eye. This one's going to get one on either side. Well, that doesn't look too hot. Let me round that out a little bit better. There we go. His body looks a little bent because I started him out sideways and changed him to be face forward. So
he had a rough night last night. Leave him alone.
He's not exactly
all
right. Oh, there we go.
It's been a long week at the honey factory.
Okay. You can zoom out. Huh? All right. Let me sign it, and we'll call it good. I'm going to use my pen here. This is my Pigma FB, but you could use, I've got a link to the Pit pens that I like to use as well. This one's a little bit thicker than this. It's a little finer, so. All right, there we go. Finished, not too bad. Well, 2 hours. Sorry, honey, this is a longer Tuesday night than normal, but got a lot of detail in there. So you can make it simplified if you want to. Make it as complicated as you want. So, hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Share it with me on Thankful Art on Facebook if you try this. I've got links down in my social media, down in the description. If you click on the show more below the video, it'll drop that down. You can see all the list of the materials and links to Amazon to buy the products and the brush guides as well. So thanks guys, and we will see you next time. Bye.